The world is changing. A powerful new partnership is forming between China and Russia. This partnership, sometimes called a quasi-alliance, poses a major challenge to the United States and its allies. China and Russia share a common goal. They want to reshape the world order. They want a world where the United States is less powerful. They want to promote their more authoritarian government models. This partnership has serious implications for global stability. As China and Russia become more assertive, the risk of conflict increases. This is especially true in areas like the Indo-Pacific, where the United States has long been the dominant power. The rise of the China-Russia partnership is a wake-up call. It shows that the world is becoming increasingly multipolar. The United States is no longer the only superpower. This new reality requires a new approach to foreign policy, one that recognizes the growing importance of China and Russia. If you found this video insightful, please comment, like, and share to help spread the word. What happens when two global powers join forces? The China-Russia partnership is reshaping the world order. How are they challenging U.S. influence? Both countries are actively working to weaken U.S. power and undermine its alliances. This takes many forms. What is China's strategy? China is rapidly expanding its economic and military influence, especially in Asia. And what about Russia? Russia is using military force and disinformation campaigns to destabilize its neighbors and interfere in Western democracies. What impact are these actions having? These actions are having a real impact. Why are countries becoming more hesitant to side with the United States? Countries are becoming more hesitant to side with the United States, fearing economic retaliation from China or military aggression from Russia. What does this mean for the US-led international order? The result is a weakening of the US-led international order that has been in place since World War II. Is the challenge to US power just about military might or economic influence? The challenge to US power isn't just about military might or economic influence, it's also about ideas. What alternatives are China and Russia promoting? China and Russia are promoting their authoritarian models as alternatives to democracy. How are they controlling the narrative? They are using propaganda and censorship to silence dissent and control information. The China-Russia partnership isn't just about words, it's also about military power. The two countries are engaging in increasingly sophisticated military cooperation, which is causing concern in Western capitals. Joint military exercises have become larger and more frequent. These exercises demonstrate the growing operational compatibility between the Chinese and Russian armed forces. They also send a clear message: China and Russia are prepared to challenge US military dominance. This cooperation extends beyond exercises. China and Russia are sharing military technology and intelligence. They are also coordinating their military activities in key regions, such as the South China Sea and the Arctic. This growing military alignment has serious implications for US strategic planning. The United States can no longer assume that it can easily defeat China or Russia in a military conflict. This new reality requires a reassessment of US defense priorities and a renewed focus on strengthening alliances. China's unwavering support for Russia in the wake of its invasion of Ukraine has revealed the depth of their partnership and raised profound concerns about the future of global stability. Despite international condemnation and sanctions, China has refused to condemn Russia's actions. Instead, it has amplified Russian propaganda and provided a crucial economic lifeline to Moscow. China's purchases of Russian oil and gas have helped offset the impact of Western sanctions, providing crucial revenue for the Kremlin to continue its war effort. This economic support has enabled Russia to withstand international pressure and continue its aggression in Ukraine. Along with economic support, China has also provided diplomatic cover for Russia at the United Nations and other international forums. This has made it more difficult to hold Russia accountable for its actions and has emboldened the Kremlin to continue its aggression. This has made it harder to hold Russia accountable for its actions and emboldened the Kremlin to continue its aggression. Section 5. The Taiwan Time Bomb. A potential flashpoint in the Pacific. Taiwan represents a dangerous flashpoint in the escalating tensions between the United States and China. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory, while Taiwan asserts its independence. This conflict has the potential to ignite a major conflict, drawing in the United States and its allies. China has become more assertive in its claims to Taiwan, conducting military exercises near the island and issuing stern warnings to Taiwanese leaders. On the other hand, the United States has pledged to defend Taiwan if it is attacked, raising the stakes in this dangerous game. The situation is complicated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. China is watching closely to see how the West will respond to Russia's aggression. If China senses weakness or hesitation, it may be emboldened to take military action against Taiwan. The consequences of a conflict over Taiwan would be devastating. It would likely involve a major air and naval battle, potentially drawing in other countries in the region. The economic impact would be global, disrupting trade and causing widespread instability. Section 6. A legacy of tension, from Trump's trade wars to today's standoff. The current tensions between the United States and China are not a sudden development. They are the culmination of years of growing rivalry and mistrust. The policies of former President Donald Trump, particularly his trade war with China, played a significant role in exacerbating these tensions. Trump's decision to impose tariffs on Chinese goods ignited a trade war that damaged both economies and led to resentment on both sides. His administration also took a more confrontational approach to China on issues such as Taiwan and the South China Sea. While Trump's successor, President Joe Biden, has sought to stabilize the relationship with China, many of the underlying tensions remain. The Biden administration has continued to take a tough stance on China's human rights record and its aggressive actions in the South China Sea. The legacy of Trump's policies continues to cast a long shadow over U.S.-China relations. The trade war in particular has damaged trust and made it more difficult to find common ground on other issues. Section 7. Walking a tightrope. South Korea's balancing act between superpowers. South Korea finds itself in an increasingly precarious position as tensions escalate between the United States, China, and Russia. The country is a key ally of the United States and relies on the U.S. for its security. However, it also has close economic ties with China, its largest trading partner. Maintaining this delicate balancing act has become increasingly difficult. South Korea is under pressure from the United States to take a tougher stance against China, particularly on issues such as Taiwan and the South China Sea. However, South Korea is hesitant to alienate China, fearing economic retaliation. The situation is further complicated by North Korea's nuclear ambitions. South Korea relies on the United States to deter North Korean aggression. However, China is North Korea's main ally, and has resisted U.S. efforts to pressure Pyongyang. South Korea is walking a diplomatic tightrope, trying to maintain good relations with both the United States and China, while navigating a complex geopolitical landscape. The country's ability to successfully navigate these challenges will be crucial for its security and stability. Section 8. The heavy price of conflict, economic fallout, and global instability. The escalating tensions between the United States, China, and Russia are not just a geopolitical issue. They have real consequences for the global economy and international stability. The war in Ukraine has already had a major impact on the global economy, disrupting supply chains, pushing energy prices higher, and contributing to rising inflation. A wider conflict involving China, the world's second-largest economy, would have even more dire consequences. Along with the economic fallout, a major conflict between these powers would also undermine global efforts to address pressing challenges such as climate change, pandemics, and the spread of nuclear weapons. Cooperation on these issues is essential, but it becomes increasingly difficult in an environment of mistrust and hostility. The stakes are high. The world cannot afford a conflict between these major powers. Dialogue, diplomacy, and a commitment to finding common ground are essential to prevent a catastrophic outcome. Section 9. An uncertain future. The need for dialogue and diplomacy. The world is at a crossroads. The escalating tensions between the United States, China, and Russia pose a grave threat to global peace and security. The path forward is fraught with uncertainty, but one thing is clear: dialogue and diplomacy are essential to avert disaster. The United States and its allies must engage with China and Russia in a spirit of pragmatism and realism. This does not mean abandoning core principles or condoning unacceptable behavior. It means recognizing that these countries have legitimate interests, and that finding ways to manage differences peacefully is essential. Diplomacy is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It takes courage and wisdom to engage with adversaries, build bridges of understanding, and find common ground. The alternative conflict is a road to ruin. The future is not yet written, The choices we make today will determine whether the 21st century is a century of peace or conflict. Let us choose wisely.